Dear chess friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm very excited finally to introduce a variation for white. It's been a while. All my recent files actually were for black side, and I have been getting a lot of inquiries what's going on about white color, like any ideas you're gonna show us for white. So finally we have interesting variation for white, very fresh idea, relatively fresh idea. But I'm even more excited to introduce a new contributor to my site, my very good friend, Grandmaster Michael Roiz. Not only he used to be a strong player, not playing too much nowadays, but he's a well-renowned coach, chess author with publication Quality Chess, a lot of courses on Chessable, a lot of databases on modern chess, and I'm very happy that he decided to give a shot on my site. Now, he has a lot of experience working with top level players. He worked with Gelfand, Pavel Elyanov, and to name a few, and different other players. So very well educated in the openings. Somebody that I can easily discuss any new ideas, share information, and we always had a very close chess relationship. Now, in this file, we gonna talk about KingsIndian with move g3, which, as you know, my specialty as well. That's a proposed material, the proposed repertoire in my quality chess books, like White Repertoire, Grandmaster Repertoire. But he also was a very big expert in all g3 systems. So we're gonna talk about one system that, to be honest, bothered me a lot as a g3 player. And I'm talking about variation. So we get this kind of like starting position. Of course, there are like a few moves. Now, I can say that maybe the most popular move statistically would be 97, but somehow I was always very happy to see this move. I scored tremendously here. Of course, black has some new ideas, and it's double-edged fight, but I really enjoy playing with space advantage here with white. And if you check the database, you will see my score was terrific here. So was never worried about this line, but the variation that we're gonna talk today is actually move knight c6, and this has been really fashionable recently for black. And the reason for this, that after castle, black, so there is a choice, there is a6, rook b8, bishop f5. It's all playable lines for black, but I really like white in these positions. But you know, the most challenging move, of course, e5. And now how the theory evolved here. So I remember my very first books, Grandmaster Repertoire, first d4 for white, actually featured everyone played knight e7 here, and that was very promising position for white, because after e4, and since we have a fianchetto, knight on e7 is not that optimal as in the main lines of KingsIndian with the bishop on e2. But what happened recently, after d5, black started to play knight b8. So it's not recently, it's been quite a few years. So like strong players realized why to go to e7. We can go to b8, and then later continue with thematic ideas such as a5, knight a6. And obviously it's a little bit unpleasant for white that we have bishop on g2, and at the same time pawn on d5 blocks the bishop. Now also another good news for black, that at some point in this variation that I already recommended in my second edition, black figure out that it's not only move rook e8, but black can actually sacrifice the pawn with the move h6, and it appears that after bishop f6, knight d5, so that's the idea, double attack. So first played by Dubov a few years ago, knight c7, rook b8, thanks to the threat e4, and bishop pair black actually doing pretty well. And I don't think white has anything significant in this variation. So this line has been, personally for me, and I'm pretty sure for many G3 players, has been a headache. And but what Michael suggests here, actually very interesting idea, white to castle if we can play d5. So that's very important idea. Now, so we obviously do not allow to play e5 right away. So now I don't think there is anything serious here besides knight a5 move, which will be the top choice, obviously. Now, just to mention, everything will be covered, like Michael covers all the moves, but after knight b8, I would like to mention that castle. So now what happens e5? It seems like the same position, besides the fact that it's white to move, and we can take en passant and force a favorable pawn structure. Now, whether it's move bishop e6, so that we just play knight d4, pawn on b7 is hanging, so it's a nice tempo, bishop c8, and now we are free to develop, like we can play b3. I'm pretty sure some other setups are possible, so that's a very, very nice advantage. I would say even dream position for fianchetto players. Or we can have move fe6, maybe more interesting now, actually interesting idea here, just to start with move b4, just grabbing space, and there is some coverage, and white is doing really, really well in this position, in my opinion. Now, so what happens after knight a5, our main line? Now, it's not very unusual square, because there is actually, it's called Yugoslav variation, when black plays knight c6, h6, ready for d5, knight a5. Basically, when you play knight c6, you're ready for knight a5, not any other squares. And now we start with the move b3. We start with the move b3, a bit sensational, immediately raises some question what happens with the diagonal, but I can assure you guys that tactically we are covered. So, for example, if black, let's say, strikes with knight d5, we have this idea, we take knight d5, bishop a1, and then bishop d2, two pieces hanging. So we are gonna get the material if he's not playing c6, attacking our knight. So in this line, very strong seems knight e7. Also queen a1 looks good, also advantage, but knight e7, queen e7, queen a1. So the knight is hanging, as well as we threatening bishop h6. If we get back exchange, will be once again very favorable pawn structure. So he has rook e8. That's a tempo, threatening mate in 1, castle b6. But it appears that now, because of dark squares and very aggressive play, knight g5 with idea knight e4, black actually in serious trouble here. After bishop f5, another nice finesse here, g4, and eventually we get knight e4 with very dangerous attack, and white is clearly better. So that was move knight d5, so there is no tactics. Something similar happens if he plays knight e4 in this position, we just take and play bishop d2. So it's even way, way easier. Now just two pieces hanging, and we'll be eventually up material. So the main line in this position, so everything is covered, like c6, a6, but the main line is c5. Now already we have to pay attention, and knight on a5 is protected, so knight d5 might be a threat. So we start with bishop b2. Now the main line here will be a6, castle, and rook b8. Preparing b5, obviously other moves are covered, so we have this kind of like Yugoslav variation, a little bit unusual, b3, bishop b2, but eventually we transpose, we play knight d2 and b5, so that's a position that I actually successfully played for black, with the main line being queen c2, bc4, bc4, bishop h6, by attacking knight on d2, actually black threatening bishop takes d2 followed by knight c4, and then after f4, a5 with fascinated play. I really enjoy playing this for black. There is if somebody knows the theory, exchange sacrifice is coming. So the proposal, Michael proposes to play queen c1, which actually not allows bishop f5 in some lines to come with the tempo. Now, very complicated play here, but it appears that queen on c1 is very interesting. It's it seems like it's better than on c2. It was really a surprising idea for me as well. Now, one of the lines here, and in my opinion, probably the best try for black, is to go with move e5. Now, if black plays something similar, let's say bc4, bc4 position. Now bishop h6 would just play e3, and there is no bishop f5. That's crucial. So let's say e6, rook b1. And the point is, everything would be fine for black if not knight on a5. So basically, we kind of like consolidate, we prevent any tactical opportunities, and eventually, I believe, knight on a5 is problematic and should tell in the long run. So my main line here after queen c1, e5. So Michael, main line here, e5, d6. So f e6, bishop e6 obviously covered. So it seems like flexible pawn structure. Bishop b7 is coming. We play rook b1, very important prophylaxis against potentially bc4 followed by rook b2, maybe some sacrifices on the big diagonal. And here we have this line, bc4, bc4, bishop b7. It looks like black actually solves the problem of the knight, because after bishop b7, rook b7, c6 square is available, and so knight can come anytime to c6, seems reasonable. However, interestingly enough, Michael doesn't think so, so he plays e3, knight c6, knight e2, knight is coming on a4, and it appears that black, under pressure here, white has a very pleasant advantage, and very, very, very unusual ideas, very interesting line, was kind of like surprising for me. I was immediately like, well, that would be great material for our site. And you know, guys, if you're a g3 player, and I mean, this is a great stuff, not only to surprise your opponents, but of course in the beginning it would be like a surprise, but really to fight for advantage. Now, if you enjoy my work, and as you notice, I'll try to grow a little bit. So I have a new contributor, another very good grandmaster, very theoretical guy. So please share this video, subscribe, like, click notification button, and of course, most of you who are watching this, you know that I always react, I always respond to comments, so you can suggest your ideas, ask questions, and so on. And hopefully you like this. As you know, always the way it works, you will have downloadable PGN file for purchase, but if not, I think I already shared some secrets. You can build your own files and move on and win the games here. That's the most important. Thanks for watching, and I'm looking forward to see you on my next videos on my YouTube channel. Thank you, guys.